Okay, back at it again. I still need to wrap up the leaf springs, but it is between Christmas and New Year's, and I have the week off, and I want to get this thing running and driving. I have tags for it now. I mean, it runs and drives, but I really can't just drive wherever I want. The main problem is I'm not able to go above 50 miles an hour. I've been messing with this carburetor forever. I know it's got leaks. It's got leaks between the butterfly stem, the push rod that goes all the way through the carb. There's fuel leaking out of there, so I know there's air coming in. Could be a fuel problem. I don't know. I was talking to Cam about this, and we know nothing about this engine. And he's like, you know, if you're doing 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs on the highway, I don't know what kind of maintenance has been done. So started going through all of that, what our options are. You know, converting it to a 4-barrel would be nice, something along those lines. And he's like, hey, I've got this. It's a 318 from his, I believe it's a 64 D100 that he was planning on putting here. This wasn't the motor that was in the D100, but the motor he was going to put in the D100. So he replaced the water pump, replaced the fuel pump, basically did all the maintenance on it, and to a point, and he's got a new distributor, and he's got the cool distributor with the HEI conversion on it that sits underneath, and was basically doing it to put it in his car, but now he has a different motor that he has for it, so this was just sitting in his garage. So we came up with an agreement. Thank you, Cam. And so just like I did last Christmas break, it's time to do a motor swap again. So in last year, I did the Barracuda and the Fury. I replaced the 440 with the 318, transmission, yada, yada, yada. You can see those videos if you want to see those debacles. This I'm thinking is going to be a lot more straightforward. I'm hoping to get it done in 2-3 days, maybe a day to take it out, a day to put it in, and then maybe a day to get it running and get it going. But so that's what I'm going to do here. It is time for me to finally, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep pushing. This one does have a 4-barrel carb on it as well. So it is time to swap the motor out. So I'm going to disconnect the battery, remove the starter. I think I'm having trouble with the exhaust manifold on this side. I couldn't get to one of the bolts. So I think I might just take the exhaust manifold off the block and then see if I can drop the exhaust down on both sides. Do whatever it takes to go as quickly as possible to get this motor out. And then, you know, when this is all done, I'm going to have a 318 motor that runs and maybe take it apart and see what I could do. Maybe a stroker kit. Find something to put in there and to put that motor in and have some fun with that, maybe. Anyway, so I'm going to start getting, like I said, I'm going to disconnect the battery, disconnect the starter, disconnect the bell housing bolts, disconnect the exhaust, disconnect the fuel, hoses, radiator, you know the drill, and get this motor ready to come out. Okay. I think I'm close. The exhaust is kind of pulled down. As you can see, it should be up here. It's down here, so that should come out. I've taken the engine mounts, bolts off, disconnected the fuel line, disconnected all the electrical, the manual choke. I think all I have left is to support the transmission and then hook up the engine hoist and see if this sucker will come loose. Of course it'll come loose because it was loose earlier this year. So that shouldn't be too bad. And then get this puppy out of here. I'm gonna connect it on 4 points. So I have a backup if something breaks. And give that a go.
One eternity later.
Lately it seems I ain't got ambition for much else. But when the week is done and payday comes, you can try to slow me down. But I keep going back to the wrong side of town. Good luck picking me up. Save your prayers, I'll let you down. I can't stay away from the wrong side of town.
All right, it is a new day. There's a good chance I messed up on the engine removal video because the time it took, I think my camera just shut off after a while. It took so long. So hopefully there's something there that's at least completes the story. But it is a new day, and it is time to put the new engine in. So I did remove the clutch and the pilot bearing from the old engine and installed it on the new. And so it's ready to go, torque to spec. I think that was the only thing that I needed to do to get the new motor ready. Got the engine mounts. I did last night cut the studs for the exhaust manifold so that I could take the manifolds off because the bolts were just, I think they were original and they were so corroded. The donor engine already has headers and they look basically the same, so I got my fingers crossed that they're going to match. If not, I'll have to redo all that, I guess. And then I need to decide what I want to do with the AC unit. Currently, the truck does not have power steering and an AC unit, so I'm probably going to take that off for the time being and save it. Maybe have it rebuilt. I don't know. Would be nice to have AC, but heat and power steering are definitely before AC. So, anywho, I'm going to have to do some finagling. I think I'm going to have to push the truck, open the door, it's snowing currently, and roll the truck back so that I can get my lift through here to pick up this engine. I really didn't think this whole thing through. Big surprise. And, but I think I've got everything ready to put it in. So why don't I stop talking and do that? All right. So motor's in. I did some stuff off camera. I had a little bit of a snafu. I could not get the engine and transmission to seat, and we had a spot on the engine where I couldn't rotate it anymore. Got a little panicked, pulled the engine back out. Cam came over. We looked at it. In the end, it was just some corrosion on one of the cylinders that was stopping it from rotating. So lubed up the cylinders and didn't have really that much effort to get it past it. So now it spins freely. The next day I got the engine and transmission mounted, and then did some stuff. I had to redo the front assembly, or the front belt setup, mainly because I didn't want to use the AC compressor on it. And, you know, once you remove that, then all the belts have to change. So I just took everything off the old engine over there and then just started putting everything back together. I mean, the headers that came with the engine look like they line up pretty good. So I'm going to try to connect those up and get that all going. I got the radiator, they got the hoses. This alternator, sorry, it's first thing in the morning and I haven't used my mouth yet. I may have to redo this or take the one off the old one because the fuel filter's interfering with the alternator, but maybe once I pull that back, maybe there will be room. But I can't do that until I do this, and I can't do that until I get the radiator in. So let's see, I got the exhaust. I've got starter to put back in. The clutch is already good. I may need some new spark plug wires. I've clocked the distributor, so I think that's good. Cam's got a more modern coil in there, so I have to change the coil to the distributor wire because the other one has something like that where it seats in, and oil is in there. Oil's ready to go. I put some Lucas in there just to give it some added lubrication. I'm not going to do the power steering at this point because I don't have a power steering box. I do have one, but that's for another day. Connected the oil pressure line. That's good, so I'm not going to cause an oil spill. I think the wires are pretty much connected. This has a electric choke rather than the manual choke, so I need to, figure what I'm going to do there, but I'd like to hear this thing run today. Fuel line is connected. Engine mounts. I got bolts on each side, 2 bolts. There might be one more on each side, but it's not I don't think it has 4. I think it has 3. Anywho, that's next on the list. So, and I do have an issue. This has that, square board, a spread bore kind of setup. And I noticed I can't, I think the gasket and everything is interfering with the holes on it. You know what I mean? Like the butterflies are hitting the ovals in there and not letting the butterflies open. So I got to look at that. But I'm moving forward. I'm feeling good about this. I think today's going to be the day where I'm going to try to fire it today. So moving on. All right, so hit my first snag for today. These were attached to the new engine, and you can see the flute is bigger on this than it is on this. So I need to cut here, and weld this flute onto here to get my exhaust to go on. So I already took this little header pipe. I don't know, it's the first pipe coming off the exhaust manifold. And part of me is like, well, why don't you just do dual exhaust? But I just want to get this thing running, and I don't want it to be loud. I don't want it to be, I want it to be just a nice daily driver. So I'm going to cut here because this is roughly the same size pipe. It just looks like it has a bigger flute to it, and weld that onto there. And try to do it while it's aligned very well. Maybe I'll put it on and then tack weld it and then weld it on. Do it right. All right. These things make great workbenches. The square fenders are awesome. Anyway, I think I'm ready for my initial test. I mean, there's not a lot of wiring to this. I think I got my spark plug to distributor wiring correct. We don't have the radiator in. I just want to see if it'll kick off. One thing I did notice, I checked to see if the starter would turn over when I install it. It has a gallop to it for sure. So hopefully some of the rings will come around when it warms up and gets to temperature. But first things first, let's see if we get spark. I got my little tester on cylinder 1. Yikes, it's in neutral. Oh, let me turn the ignition on. Back a second. Go ahead and turn it over. Let's see what happens. So, across the distributor or the starter relay while I watch. So no spark. All right, so I just took up the old coil and basically wired it exactly the way I had it before, and I'm now getting spark. So let's see what happens. If you hear that in the background, that is my neighbor's 1,000 horsepower plus BMW competition. So, yeah. Oh, she's got fuel. Okay. Waiting for the fireball. Okay. good, but it rained. And I don't have any coolant in here. So, but, yeah. All right, so I have added some water and installed the radiator and the radiator hoses. So now I can kind of run it a little longer and let it warm up. So let's see what happens. The belt's squeaking, so because I didn't tighten it. Let me do that. All right, so tighten the belt. Let's see what that does now. I may not have the key on. I'm sure I don't have the key on. Hoping this will kind of clean up a little bit. Already gotten better. Right now, oil pressure is at 60 psi. Warming up seems to be calming down. The lifter knock seems to be better. Not sure it's running on all cylinders yet, but definitely sounds better. Thermostat's open. Good warm. Don't have to stay on the rest of that. But I believe we have a runner. We definitely have a fuel leak to fix. Gotta put the fan on. Charging. I'll let you see the fuel leak. I'm just going to watch the drip. Can't really see on the camera, but so I think a 318 with that, I think it's a 650 or 600 carb should do well. If we're running on all cylinders. All right, so I just took it for the very first test drive with the replacement engine. Oh my God, is it so much better. It has so much more power. Like before, I was doing everything I could to get up to 40, 50 miles an hour. And even then, you know, like you stop at a light and you start to take off in second gear because this is a granny gear truck, and you're just like watching the people behind you just stack up because it's taking forever to get up to speed. That has all gone away. I think I could easily drive this on the highway now. So I am calling this a win. That was a lot of work. I'm an old man. I have a desk job, computers. This was a lot of work. I've done more sit-ups in the past week than I have the last couple of years, to be honest, when you're working on the floor, and you guys know. So anywho, I'm calling that a win, and for the first time, I feel like I could drive this vehicle as a daily, and that's what I plan to do. I got a lot of cleanup to do. I got to put everything back, and I don't know if I'm going to disassemble that 318, or I want to do something with it. I'd like to maybe do a stroker kit just to see, or to do a rebuild that's kind of on a budget. You know, if I were to do a solid bottom end, not crazy horsepower bottom end, not, you know, forged everything, but, you know, redo it, get the compression up, and get a new cam and cylinder heads and intake. What would that do for this end, for these? I know these probably make less than 200 horsepower stock. I mean, even my 383 that I had in the Fury with a 2-barrel was under 200 horsepower. So, yeah, that was a long time ago. But so, I mean, I know everybody talks today about, you know, stroker kit and 400 horsepower and blah, 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 and that's really cool. But is there a easier way to do a daily driver with, you know, just a standard rebuild, but, you know, get it breathing really well? What would it do? Would it really turn this around? But even then, it's still just a daily driver truck, so maybe I'd have to put that in something else. Anyway, I'm going to call the video here. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to give me any tips and tricks and advice on what to do with my truck. I still got a lot more to do, but I feel like I'm just now getting to where I can enjoy this truck, and I'm going to. All right, you guys, have a good one. See ya. Bye.